Hey! It's been a long time since we talked, and I decided to continue this thing, or at least to finish it. So, last time we finished the map, and we decided that it was time to name our roads and everything like that. So, that's what we'll do today. So, let's get down to it. So here we are on our map like we left it on, and the first thing we're gonna do is that we're gonna reorganize these, because that's one of the things that you will need to do when you get so many layers. So the first thing we'll do is just click on Ocean Deep here, hold down the Shift key, and go all the way to Mountains. And what we'll do now is go into Layer right here at the top, create new, group from layers. We'll call it terrain, and when we click OK, it will create a folder to put all of our layers in it. So what we now have, when we click on the little arrows or to open up the folder, we have our layers here. So we know that everything that's in here is a layer. Now, the next thing we'll do is actually create a new folder. So instead of doing it with group from layers, because if we do that, we'll create with terrain inside. We'll create just a regular group, and we'll call it country names, or simply names. Yeah, names. We'll create names. It will create another folder inside. And now, as long as we're on our names, every other layer that we create will be in that folder. So just make sure he's on top of terrain, otherwise you won't see anything. So now we'll try to create something. So let's say I'm going here for the lake. I'm gonna create a name, and it's gonna be called Deep Blue. I know usually you'd use that for oceans, but that's the point. After making sure you double click on the name here, make sure you double click on the name, and then you can actually push for bigger if you want. But I think actually 18 was good enough. So the lake here will be called Deep Blue. But now you'll see that you get a problem. We barely see, and instead of simply going here, double clicking on it, and then choosing a color that would fit, instead of doing that, I recommend that you actually mix both colors. So we'll keep it black. We'll keep it black as it is. And what we'll do, instead of double clicking on here to actually modify the text, we'll click on the right side of double click on the right side of the layer. This will bring us the layer styles. What we'll push is stroke here. We'll leave it at 3. That's a nice place to start. And we'll use another color. As you can see, it will simply change the outside of the text, and we'll push it for white. Of course, if your map is white, you don't want to push white. You want a color inside that's not the same color as the map, and an outside color that doesn't fit in the place it's in. It has to be on the other spectrum, on the other end of the spectrum. So now we have our name, and it's quite seeable in our actual map. Now, why I call it a Deep Blue? Because that's our naming convention problem. Why I call it a Deep Blue? Well, it's for the same reason I would call this place Guirifinch. Guirifinch. Why would I call this place Guirifinch? Well, the same reason I did call here Deep Blue. Because it's the place. When you name a place, when you get a name in a place, there's a reason why that name was chosen. Here it was chosen to be called Deep Blue. Why? Because it's a lake, yes, but a very giant lake. But the middle is so deep, and the place is so clear blue, that the inhabitants, that the first persons that actually see it, call it a Deep Blue. See, there's always a reason. Here it could be called the mountain pass for the river, because it's a river that passes through the mountains. Here it could be called two rivers, or he said river here. Sorry, that was French. Here it could be called river pass or whatever. The big river here could be another name. The lake here could be whatever else. You see, why would I call this place Weary Finch? Well, if I had another reason why I would call it like that, that's actually just a bunch of letters that I typed inside. Thought Finch would be great things to start. So why Weary Finch? Well, simply because it's if in my world, in this world, it could be an arachnid sector. An arachnid full of drows and driders and everything like that, you know, with spiders and everything. And that could actually be an spider name in their languages, like Finch or something like that. And that would be the name of the place, whatever that means. It's not an actual word that actually exists, and that's what's fun about it. So basically your word could be made of names that could be pretty much anything. So that's it for our naming conventions. So things to remember is that you actually need inspiration somewhere. You could actually try to think it here, but I'm not recommending it. So just take your inspiration somewhere. Lord of the Ring is one of the greatest places to look around. J.R. Tolkien actually did quite a map, quite a world to play in. So there's a lot to do it. There's even elven alphabets, the draconics that exist in the races of dragon. There's dwarven language, dwarven runes. There's a lot of things that you could actually see. Another thing that I really like to show you, and I'll show you right away, is this. So here we are. Yes, I'm actually on Google. And what I'm gonna show you is one way to actually get some names. The author of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, actually used other languages that we actually speak in this world to actually create his names for the characters. So what we'll do is click here on more. If you don't have that, because I'm using this, but if you have it on the side, you'll click on the square with multiple dots on it, and you'll have these. You go into translate, and here you can actually use many languages. Like here you got enough languages to actually do something. So say I'm typing, I want the name, let's say Bra. There's a lot of names that could actually go for it. So here you got some translations of Bra. It translated in Arabic and said it's good for Arabic. So you could name somebody like that, and it would simply mean good in Arabic. You see, that's something that I actually like, and here he detected that it was Swedish and not English. See, so there's a lot of things that do not that can be used. Like, look at this. Look how this language looks like. That could totally pass for something in your fantasy world. So there you go, you have enough things. So let's say I would go with the word good instead. So I'm going with good, which is detected English. But we don't want it in English. We could make it for Spanish. That's bueno. Good to hear. In Arabic, it's well, it's kind of more like a rune or something. Well, we could make it in Portuguese, which is bomb. We could make it in Swedish, which is bra, like we already knew. Igbo would make it easy. Latin would make it bonum. You know, anything like that could actually be used for naming conventions. So as you can see, everything can be used to actually make naming conventions. You actually take somewhere, someplace, and you like, okay, that could be working. So that's how you do naming conventions. That's how you do it. That's pretty much it. I'm closing in this map making tutorial about that was the basics for it all. Next time on the map making tutorials we'll create a dungeon through a mountain. So thanks for watching.